Hello again everyone, how are we doing today? Hope you are doing very well. So this time we've got this little project on our hands. Really all we're going to be doing with this one is blending in some C4D renders onto a stock image and making sure it looks nice and smooth together. We're going to be using the polygon lasso tool here, among many other things. And I also want to mention that for this video I have posted the link to the C4D pack that I use, which is downloadable on DeviantArt. I can't remember the name of the guy who created it, but I'll leave his link in the description, and I'll also leave a link to the C4D pack as well as a link to the stock image that I've used for this image as well, which is this stock image right here. And then we're going to mix in these C4Ds here, Cinema 4D renders they're called, and they're a bit unusual. I don't normally use ones like this, but I enjoyed using them really for this project here. And I'm going to be using this one as the main one. As you can see in this one, it's probably the main render I've used. So straight away, if you want to copy that, if you just highlight all off this one. So Control A or Command A, and then copy, and then we can copy that over onto our stock layer here. And then really you can lay this any way you like. I'm just gonna go edit transform, edit transform, and then I'm gonna flip it vertically, and then I'm gonna manually kind of rotate it around to get it in the kind of areas that I want it to be in. Pretty simple at the moment, so I'm going to edit transform that again. I'm going to flip that horizontally. Can't remember how I had it laid out to begin with. Oh, that'll do there. Okay. So if we just lay it on like this, you can see obviously it obscures the focal point, and the focal point for this particular image, I'm going to use the main kind of flower piece. I've just highlighted that. So obviously with it going there, it kind of obscures it a little bit. So if we get the polygon lasso tool and just hide the cinema layer there, and then zoom in on our focal point, and we can just highlight the surrounding areas of our focal point here, like so, just making sure we don't miss any of the little bits. And if I just do that for now and then select it, he selects it just by finishing off and making sure it connects from side to side. And then if I go on it like so, that's actually going to delete that a little bit there, so I'm going to, as you can see, I didn't take into account what the actual render was. So if I go ahead and hide that layer and press Command and D, and you just get rid of the selection like that, and you just go ahead and remake the selection now that you know where the render starts and begins, and what effects it's going to have in the selection area. And I'm just going to make sure I highlight everything this time, just because I've obscured it quite a lot in the positioning I've given it. And you can take into account on this as well, it doesn't really matter if it obscures one leaf but not another, or not the majority of it. It can obscure one little bit of the leaf at least, and it'll create a little bit of depth with it. And, okay, so we finish off the selection there, bring it back up, and then all we're going to do is we're going to hit delete, and then that gives us our leaves on top, or seemingly on top of it. So if we zoom back out 100% again, you can see there it looks like it's kind of bending on under the two leaves here and then over this one here. But as you can see, it looks a little bit stuck out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create I'm going to come back down to my stock layer, and I'm going to hit my burn tool here, zoom in a little bit more, and I'm just going to burn. Oh, sorry, no, I need to be on the C4D layer. I'm just going to burn the C4D underneath the leaves, just to make it look like there's a shadow being cast underneath it, and it looks a little bit more blended into the image. So if I go ahead, zoom out, as you can see there, when you zoom out, it looks a little bit better. And then you're going to head and get your next one. Get your next C4D onto your project again, and then paste this one in. And then again, you just pretty much repeat the process here. So I'll place it where you like, hide it, zoom in as far as you need really, and then take into account where it is, so we know it's over this one, and over this one, and over this one that we need it to get rid of. So I'm gonna make a quick selection on this one, and again you'll need to do a similar thing at the end of it by making sure you burn the render. This one's going to be a bit lower than the other one, I'll say it's going to look a little bit lower. And bear in mind, this is a very rough selection. You should be taking more time and care over yours, especially if you're doing the polygon lasso tool for the first time, because it's quite tricky when you first actually start using it, believe it or not. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish the selection here, and I'm going to delete that, and I'm also going to delete the majority of it over here as well, just because it looks slightly out of place with the selection that's been deleted so far. And then I'll refill that with another C4D laying over that, just so it doesn't look out of place. Go ahead and click your burn tool again. Right, so switch to it. Go ahead and click the burn tool and just burn underneath where the shadows would be. Zoom out 100% again. So as you can see, it's starting to take shape like that one. I've laid out the C4Ds a little bit differently. You can lay them out how you want. Just make sure you kind of get a little bit of flow heading into the image, and then not all the layout isn't conflicting as such. But I mean, this bit is rather time consuming, so I'm going to do what I did in one of my other tutorials and skip ahead a little bit and leave you to that. But if you make sure you cover all of the image, once you get away from the leaves, you can stop the burning and start on it, and just fill the image out with different C4Ds. So use the vast majority of the ones in the pack if you like. So yeah, I'll leave you to that, and when you come back, you should have filled out the entire image, just that there's none of the background there. So pause the video right here. And now that you've unpaused the video, you should have something which looks relatively similar to this. It won't look exactly the same. Don't feel like it should. So as you notice, we've got the shading on the C4Ds. I've done a little bit more all over the image really. It just depends on where you want to do it, where you think your light source is going to come from, and where it's all going to go. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to give this a bit more of a colour scheme. So if you go ahead on just below your layers window, you've got a little black and white circle here. If you click that and then click on your gradient map, here, and I'm just going to click the violet to orange, and then I'm going to go on lighten, and I'm going to change this down to about 36%, just so it's not too visible. Because again, if we just lower maximize this to 100, it looks a bit awful, to be honest, the color wise. So we'll lower that down to 36 again, and then we're going to do another one. So same process, black and white circle, gradient map, and this time we're going to choose the violet, green to orange, and again we're going to hit lighten. Now this one, if we lower this one down to 36, it still looks a bit strong. So we're going to lower it down even further to about 19, like so. And it just gives it a bit more light in there. And we're going to do a final one. Again, same process. Black and white circle, gradient map. And I've done black to white there, sorry. Black and white, gradient map. And this time we are going to go with the green to red. I'm going to reverse that as well. So it is green to red, and then I'm going to hit lighten again, and this time we're going to go on 15%. So you can see we're getting the image a bit lighter all the time, but it will soon go darker. So now you want to create a new layer, so you Shift, Control and N, and I'm going to